Alright guys, welcome to part 2. So pretty much continuing off where I left off in part 1. So in all these videos you'll be able to find the links to the other videos in the series in the description, and I'll see if I'm gonna give away or give you guys the templates to follow along as well. And let's see, what else. So today I'm gonna kind of focus on bass and stuff, or just kind of continue in the way that I would. So I'm gonna try to do a little less talking, explain things where I need to, but kind of just get through it and progress in the writing of the track. So basically all I did so far when I just opened this up like a minute ago was I just kind of copied over another 8 bars. So now I have 16 bars. I threw the filter that was on the pre-master, I put that on the kicks, so I put all the kicks in a group, and I threw on that same DJM 800 filter by Xfer free plugin. And see, we just have a little bit of this low pass engaging. And so basically once it gets to this point here at the 9 bars, I'm going to have another automation come in and turn that off. So the filter turns off at 9 bars, and I copied that and applied it over to these loops. So I put these 2 loops in a group together. And so far that's all we have. And then the vocals stuff are in its own group. So right now what I probably should do is organize this for you guys to tell what's going on and for me to tell what's going on. And one more thing, I forgot to do this, but someone said that my screen was too dark. I agree, it is too dark on YouTube, so let's go back to default. And there was light, so I'm gonna make this maybe blue, this maybe green, and this maybe a different shade of green, or let's go for another blue. So let's call these what we need to call them. So kicks, tab over for the next one. What is this? Loops. So I'll press tab again, and what is this? Vocals, vocal bits. So very big difference between vocals and vocal bits. So in this video I'm probably going to want to start adding in some markers. So at bar 9 I'll just call this filter off, or I could just call it whatever. I don't even need a marker there to or I don't need to call it anything. So I'm just going to listen to see what I have and see where I go with it next. I'm probably going to do some delays and some atmosphere type stuff and some bass stuff in this video. Oh, and by the way, another thing, I brought in another vocal bit, which is just the word K-Sade, but very heavily detuned down. So that little growl thing, I've shown you guys how to do this before. If you've ever seen my how to make a tech house vocal thing video, then you know exactly how I did this. And it also explains how I made this chain. So it's kind of similar to this chain, but there's a few more steps to make this sound. So I might link that video as well in the description, but let's see. So I think I need to throw in some hats. So for sure I need to go, find a nice hi-hat pattern or get some nice hats. So I would recommend deadmau5's Xfer. They have really good like hi-hat stuff in there, or Go Vengeance stuff, or I've been making a few of my own, maybe like 1 or 2. So I'll go for that, since I really do like using my own samples, just because people can't place your samples. They I get a lot of questions from people like, whoa, what sample was that? Where'd you get that from? What pack is that? And I always like saying that it's my own. It makes me more proud of my tracks. It's a good feeling, So that's kind of why I do that as well. And when you're making samples, you're making it for yourself, and you're making it custom to your liking. So I like that as well. So I'm going to bring this volume down because we don't want this to be too loud, and we're going to get that shit to be panned out kind of wide. So I'm going to go back here into loops, and I believe one of these loops I had this plugin, which I showed you guys in the last video. So I'm gonna try to make these hats wide. So again, this is just a mid-side plugin. We're just gonna, I like the settings here, but maybe I can bring down the sides a little bit less, since on the master there's also some, you know, stereo plugins and things like that. So we don't want to bring out the sides too much, because then it'll be way too loud and way too harsh. And we don't want that, and we want to avoid that. And already I don't like that pattern. But let me see what I have in my atmosphere stuff. And let me bring down this volume right here. So this little blue volume right here is just the it represents the little headphone volume, which represents, you know, listening, testing out things or hearing things on the sides in this menu. You know what? Instead of doing that, I actually want to show you guys how to bring in some noise. So bringing in white noise is like one of the best things you can do to fill in some space. And right now I just want to fill in some space. So I do have a rack that I do use. So let me see. Again, making racks saves a lot of time. So a lot of the stuff in here takes a long time to put together and to get to sound really nice. So that's why I save it, so I can save some time. So let's see. You guys should start doing that as well. So noise builder. Oh, okay, I know what this is. This is something else. Now I just have the trouble of, you know, finding them through here quickly. So it was probably white noise builder or something like that. So let's see. I will find it. Okay, white noise surfer. That's it. So this is a silent patch. I've shown you. I probably have a tutorial on this as well. So if I find that video, I'll link it in the description below. And I've probably explained all this stuff, but all it is chorus, auto pan, sidechain compressor, which we'll get rid of, and we'll substitute in for the sidechaining one of my favorite plugins. Really, it is really one of my favorite plugins. It's Kickstart by Nicky Romero's company. And so this is like a $15 sidechain plugin, totally worth it. I use this all the time. And when you freeze stuff, like, you know, you can freeze stuff without getting routing errors with this sidechain. It's really awesome. So I'm probably going to set it to a classic chain, bring it to around 70%, and we'll now throw in a MIDI. And we'll just expand that. Just go for, what key is this in? G. Okay, so we'll go for a G. Let's see, a G1. And let's make our grids a bit bigger. So there we go. Now I better bring this down. Noise is freaking loud. So around negative 35 dB is where I place that to start with. And let's see, I also have some flangered white noise. I have a tutorial on that as well, but I know that I'm going to want some flangered white noise. So if I go to my K-State Builders pack, which is going to be out in like maybe a month or two, because I still have to build a lot of it. 50 sounds per each of these categories. So I have some noise in here, so I have flangered white noise. So I'm going to want some of that as well, I know that. So the way you make flangered white noise is you take white noise like this, you freeze it, you bounce it, you get an audio form, you throw a flanger on it, and then you know, that's basically it. You just flange your white noise, so it sounds kind of cool like this. Compare that to, you know, just white noise. But this one's sidechain, so I'm gonna do something here. And I'm going to set the sidechain to be a little bit tighter and away from the kick for sure. So this weird rhythm one, or hardstyle rhythm one, is really awesome for that. And also like this one at the end. This is you use this envelope with white noise, and it sounds like hats, pretty much like hi-hats. So I like that, and you can layer in some hi-hat samples with that, and it just sounds really sweet. So I'm gonna probably do that for this. So consolidate the clip, I'll freeze this, and like I said, if you tried sidechaining with a regular compressor and you had that routed to a kick, you wouldn't be able to freeze it like this. You would get a routing error. So because of the sidechain plugin, I don't have to do that. Because the way it sidechains is it's sidechaining with envelopes that are synced to the grid. So it doesn't need an input from anything. And now we're going to want to bring in that plugin. So now I'm going to want to make this a little bit wider sounding, even though it's not panning it. It's just sort of making the sides louder and the middle a little bit quieter. And with these kind of plugins, like mid-side plugins, the tweaking should be minimalistic. You shouldn't be going too crazy like -6 dB or +6 dB. They're very subtle plugins where you just want to get like 0.5 of a dB or a dB or so. They're not really, you don't need to crank them to, get good results. That being said, I want to probably throw a ping pong delay on this because this is kind of tech house type stuff, or maybe it's just house stuff. I don't know. I'm just making this freely. I'm not really trying to fit into a category, but I will aim it towards tech house since that's what the video is called. So delays are definitely a big part of those kind of genres. So I'm probably going to I have settings I like to use on the ping pong delay. Echo Boys are also a really good delay, but it's not free. So, it's hard to find good free delays. And at least this one comes stock with Ableton, so it's kind of free if you own Ableton. So I like to set this to 1. I like to put the dry wet less than 30% or at 30% and feedback at 70%. So 70% feedback is a lot of feedback, but it's going to sound nice. Let's see. I just had an idea, so I need to probably undo a lot of things. So I'm going to keep pressing undo until I get back my chain here. So I'm going to unfreeze, and now I'm going to throw the ping pong delay before the kickstart. As a matter of fact, I should probably throw this at the end. You should have sidechaining like this at the end of a track. So, or actually, I want the ping pong to be after that, so yeah. I just figured it out. So I'm going to do a ping pong like that before the sidechaining and a reverb afterwards to kind of carry out some of that space. Alright, so that might be more like it. So let's freeze that. And you'd probably notice I brought down the diffuse a lot on that reverb because I didn't want to hear that. And I like when you flatten things because you also get to keep these extra tails, and you get to move them around anywhere, as opposed to before with the MIDI I would have had to place the MIDI and then wait for it to end to then hear it ring out and have a tail. So I kind of like this. So I might push this somewhere else for now. So if we go from intro, now let's add in the flangered white noise. Alright, so I think I'm going to want to try two things with this. I'm going to either want to try a panning effect, or I'm going to want to try a sidechaining effect. So let me see, I'm going to get some plugins in here that I would want to use for this, so I should probably make a chain of these kind of things. So let's see, let's get all these plugins in here. So first off, I'm going to want to go set it like this for the sidechain, but we're going to have it off because I'm not going to use it for sure yet. I'm going to set my settings here, typical settings for something like this. This is really just here to kind of filter out everything but above 12K, and I'm gonna probably want to filter out some of that low noise but I'll get to that in a sec. Actually, I could do that now. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to have this one, or actually not that one, this one, and that's first, filter out everything above 250 or 240. And I'm going to copy that to, the vocal bits stuff. If I want to back that down later to like 160, I can't do that. And this filter, I'm going to also have it around 160, 150. So I'm just high passing everything that isn't a low end instrument or sample like a kick. So loops and vocal bits, definitely I can high pass those. And let's see what's in here. So this is just a blank audio track. This is white noise, so probably does need that high passing, and so does this. So actually it looks like I added all these plugins on the wrong channel, so I'll just copy this in a rack and I'll just paste it over here and delete that. Or I could copy this, and this is what needs to be on here, so just high passing that. So now we have the filtering section, which has nothing to do with the effect thing, the mid side to make it wider, which we'll leave there for now. And now I'm gonna want to do a panning effect, so maybe something like that. And let's get rid of the pencil tool, so that's Command B or Control B. Let's really get rid of the middle on that one. Even if I listen to this in mono, I wouldn't want to hear that much noise in the middle. That would just be annoying. So maybe I can go kind of crazy with this around 3 dB. And I do want to get this kind of panned out wide, so what I could do, I probably want to pan this out later. So I'll just leave it the way it is for now. But yeah, I should probably take care of some of the panning stuff. So I'll grab a utility and I'll place it here, and I'm going to set the width to around 180. And since it's so much wider now, you notice the auto pan doesn't have as big an effect, because the auto pan is essentially doing the same thing, just making it wider, but also kind of, LFOing and phasing it a little bit, to give it an effect. So maybe that won't work, but the side chaining idea will, so. And now I'm going to grab another ping pong delay, because I really like those, after the pan, or maybe before actually. So, maybe the noise is too loud for now, but for now I'm going to put them both around 43, negative 43, around there. So, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to put these now both in a group, and I'm going to, make sure that they're on. Let's make sure that this group and this audio track are both going to send A, sends only. These are okay because they're routed to the group. The group is routed to the pre-master, so it's all good. So we can make this another color. call this noise. So the whole point of this, you know, now we can hear how much room it fills in. So from that, so that's kind of, you know, it needed something there, and now it's there. Next thing I would want to do probably is claps. So I'm just going to add in an instrument track. I'm going to use the Anna to get my claps. So I like the Anna for claps. So if I go to, let's see, where is it? Right here, the Anna. It's a really good synth. If you don't have the Anna, the same way I make the clap in here, you can make it like that in any other synth ever. So basically the way I do this is I'll go to my K-Sade stuff, I'll go to, let's see, where is K-Sade clap Anna. And let me make sure my MIDI, so if you have a keyboard and you're not getting MIDI, you want to go over here to this section, all ins, so all inputs work for the synth now. As opposed to computer keyboard, which would only be the keyboard keys on the, you know, on the keyboard. So if you can't see that, you need to turn on the I/O, which is super important to see all the time. At least I feel like it is. So I'm in the key of G, so I'll just play a G here. And I like that this noise is key tracked, the retrig is on, the volume is around there, it's 1 octave up, start time's around there. The filtering out is all the way to filter 2, which is just a high pass. You can see where the cutoff is there. This cutoff is, it's on series, and this is my amp envelope right here, and my filter envelope. Voicing doesn't really matter, it can be on legato. And what's kind of making it that clap sound, other than the noise itself, is the G envelope. So the G envelope just looks like this, and it's routed to oscillator 4's volume, and the amount and rate are around there. And the sync is off, so the rate is, you know, it's going by rate of hertz, not by rate of like 1/4. And we're not even using the first 3 oscillators, so all these oscillators right here, they're not doing anything. So you can forget about all that, it's not doing anything. So, and, oh, I'm using the 6th oscillator in here as well, which is just an attack oscillator. So I just loaded in Tom 4, put the volume up to there, retrig, key track on, filtered, routed to filter 2. Volumes around there, and so this is a clap. Now you can do that in any synth, like Silent. You can load in a noise wave and just shape your amp envelope in a certain way, and you can start to hear a clap. And if you LFO it with a kind of quick or slow rate, whichever you prefer, you can start to make that noise sound a bit like a clap, because this right here is just a noise wave. So I'm going to use that clap because I like it, and also has a little bit of reverb. So you can hear how it, you know, it has a nice noisy characteristic, so it'll fit in perfectly with the noise. So alright, so I just played something quickly. I can just select all, you know, Command A or Control A, and then Command Shift U or Control Shift U if you're on PC, and just you can select what the quantize settings are, press OK. So you could just press Command U and quantize like that, or Command Shift U to you know, get it to snap to the grid. And I'm going to try to see what legato would do. So forced legato would mean that this note's going to snap to the beginning of this note. So it doesn't really do anything, but let's play around with velocity now. So we're going to select these all and have Command or Control if you're on PC, and I'm going to play around these velocities. Not really noticing a difference, so I probably should go back to the Anna, throw the velocity up, and let's see if the velocity should affect this now. There we go. So I'm gonna try to play around with the velocity on 2 and 4 or the ones on the 1.4. So on the last note of the bar. So I'm gonna make these a little different. So I'm making them different, and I'm making variations like that are so, because the human ear can detect patterns and things that are looped. So you want to make your loops, or things that are going to repeat, you want to make them kind of inconsistent, or you want to modulate them over time, or do something to kind of make a variation so that it's not so easy to recognize that pattern. And I'm going to probably make some variations to the next loop, so I'm going to have quite a few variations in the velocity. So it's a good way to just kind of make it more humanized, more real feel, if you know what I mean. And this one I can probably do something crazy. Alright, so that's good enough. Let's make some copies of that, call it clap, make sure it's routed to here, which it's not. So we're going to route to the pre-master again, color it, whatever. Alright, so I heard one that I didn't like, so I'm going to go back and fix it. Now I can copy that. And I can just make this all one big region. Or actually, for now, I'll leave it like that. So I'm going to want to get these wider later, or I could just do it now. My simple trick for that, would kind of be to zoom in a bit and place them slightly before the kick. So, some of these I can place, if I zoom really far, and I can place them just like 1 over 128, like one little increment of that. I could just place that slightly before the kick. So you can see that the kick is like right here. So we're placing this a little bit before the kick, so we get this attack, and then the kick can mask the rest of this. Now, if we compare that to this, you can kind of see that the claps stand out more, but we still get the full kick. I might want to zoom in a bit more and just not place it way too far ahead of the kick, so maybe just one of these. And that should be fine. So let me zoom out, so I'll just double click there to zoom out real quick. These I can delete. I'm going to make a selection around this now. So now all of these are slightly before the kick. So I'm going to press consolidate, so Command J or Control J if you're on PC. Now I've consolidated this clip. Now I can just select it and duplicate it over, and it'll be in time with being off time, slightly. So, a lot of people like to mess around with delays and reverbs and panning to kind of make things sound wider, but sometimes it's also just the effect of the ear. If you can trick the ear of hearing something before or after something else, you can make it seem wider just because you're making it stand out. So, this is more the case of making it stand out more, but I'm also going to want to do a little bit of delay here. Or actually, there's another free plugin that I would like to introduce right now. So there's the Dimension Expander from Xfer, another free plugin. This is the emulation of the Dimension Expander in Massive. So if you've ever wanted to use Dimension Expander from Massive on a silent thing or anything that is in Massive, you can do that. So I'm going to set the dry wet down and the size down. So this is basically a delay. What it's doing is it's delaying the sides from each other, so it makes it seem wider. So it's basically a delay. And the size is pretty much, you know, the timing of like how different the sides are. So the left and right sides are. And this is basically just the dry wet knob. Cool, so it's kind of pushed further back a little bit, so, you know, for now it's good. And let's see, so how am I doing on time here? Alright, so 30 minutes in, I've had some noise and some claps, so now it's probably time for some bass. So I do have a secret weapon for bass. And, you know, not everyone's going to have this plugin. If not, whatever I do in it, you can just use silent basses or whatever. But I do want to introduce some things that maybe some of you guys don't know about. Kind of a secret weapon of mine for sure. So, you know, don't get too mad at me if you don't have this plugin. But I'm going to use it anyway. So I try to keep my videos where I use mainstream stuff that mostly everyone has, like Massive and Silent. But, you know, I don't just use those. I use a lot of other things as well. So I'm going to try to show some of that every now and then. So I'm going to use the Monarch, which is a really cool reactor, by Native Instruments reactor engine. Monarch is a synth inside of the reactor engine, and I love reactor. I can go into hours and hours. I could probably have a whole different YouTube channel about reactor and how to make your own, you know, synths inside of this as well, with you know, little consoles and components and things like that. You can make your own synth just like this inside of the reactor engine. I've definitely spent hours and hours of my life just building synths that were kind of crappy and ghetto and looked kind of funny. I think I have it on my old computer. I don't have any I could load in here, but you know, maybe for another day I'll talk about that. So anyway, let's just make a MIDI thing right here. So a little MIDI thing for 1 bar, maybe 2 bars actually. Let's turn off that loop. And let's go with a G1. So we're gonna just place this on G1. So we're just gonna do 4 hits like that. Maybe yeah. And again, these volumes are pretty loud when they first are brought in. So let's get this to be, let's set this up to be routed to the pre-master. So yeah, let me go back here. I will actually get rid of this MIDI for now. And I'm just gonna play on the keyboard. So I love this thing because the presets are great, and also some of the stuff, where the hell are my presets for this? Well, whatever, maybe it's on my other computer as well. I don't really use Reactor too much on my laptop since it's very CPU heavy, but I do like to bring it in to do a bass line and then consolidate it and, you know, freeze it and flatten it down into audio. So that's probably what most people have to do with these, because you can't just have like a bunch of these opened and processed in real time. It would crash your computer a lot. So I'm just gonna make something new with this. So let's see. It's very simple. It has 3 oscillators, you know, a little filter section here, amp and filter envelopes. Then we have, you know, just basically all the volume stuff here. So the volume for each of the oscillators, volume for feedback and noise and things like that. Very simple, but it's so based on like an analog type of thing. And I used to have like a Moog, what was it? Fatty? No, I can't. It was like a tabletop Moog. I can't remember what it was called. Brain fart. Anyway, I had Moogs, and I love the sound of those. But the thing is, they take so long to, you know, recall those sounds or to record it. And you know, I like the idea of it. But then once I started using this, you know, maybe like a year ago or 2 years ago, probably, whenever this came out, I just kind of stopped using that and started using this more and more. I mean, you can't compare it to the Moog sound, but it's basically the same thing depending on how you tweak it. So with that said, I'm just going to do that. So I'm playing a G1, by the way. Let's set this to a legato. And let's make sure that hold on. Something is kind of weird about this. Let's go to a initialize one, yeah. There we go. That's what I'm used to. So this is oscillator 1, and we can overload it. And I usually just do one oscillator. Sometimes I bring in a second one, and this 3 is almost overkill because this thing is so fat, you know? I also like using the Anna and Silent for bass stuff, but this one is just has so much character that, you know, it's almost hard to, you know, not use it for bass lines and everything. And let's try see what oscillator 2 would do. And this is the fine tuning for it, and this is the fine tuning for oscillator 1. So, because of the fine-tuning, the slight detuning on this, it sounds very fat with a combination of 1. And let's bring in another oscillator, why not? Let's see how crazy this can get. So set it to 16, same as oscillator 1 or oscillator 2. Let's turn this off. And the filters stuff sounds great in here. And this is your main volume up here, this thing. We could go for a low pass or band pass. And it kind of has that Moog feeling. You just kind of want to turn all the knobs and, you know, just not even, you just want to turn stuff to turn it and just to get different sounds. And you don't want to really think about it kind of the way you would in Anna or Silent or things like that. So I kind of like this. And the way you turn it, it just feels kind of like a piece of hardware. And so this offset stuff, let's push it away, because this is kind of bass stuff too, so we're gonna get that out of the way. Actually, it's not. It must be this thing that I'm hearing. Well, let's get it out of the way anyway. So I'm gonna make that room for the bass. Oh, it's actually my kicks. Oh well, that's fine. Maybe this bass is too low for what I have in mind, so I could just go with a classic lead in here. So there's some nice leads in here, so let's go here. And let's see. I remember there was one of my favorite ones. Again, this would probably be on my other computer for sure, if I had my own bank in this. Let's see, classic in the house. So as you guys know, writing a song isn't always the quickest thing, especially if you're explaining things. But, you know, it sometimes moves really fast, sometimes it moves really slow. You just gotta be patient and have fun while you're doing it. So, you know, right now I'm just having fun, just kind of trying stuff out. So we can see the range of 8 on this waveform, volume around there, and this kind of filtering with nothing else just sounds really nice. Yeah, so those offsets definitely have to go. Needs more sustain, so let's add some of that. Or less sustain. And probably need some side chaining of sorts. And usually I don't ever side chain a bass, but I feel like in this case, because there's already so much movement and I didn't really follow the kick and then bass and then add all the other layers, it definitely needs to be side chained a bit to fit this pattern. So usually it's a good idea to start with kick and bass first, get those two solid and locked, and then start building over that. Or sometimes, you know, just keep in mind that, you know, bringing in a bass later on, it'll be harder. So let's bring this in. I don't know where I put that. Alright, let's copy, delete. Go down here to reactor. Let's do a quick one. I do want to just kind of cheat my way through this and now bring in an arpeggiator. And let's do chord trigger. Where the heck did it go? Let's record something. Alright, so we kind of just fooled around, played some gibberish, but I can use these notes to kind of draw in something better. So to save some time, I'll just draw that in, you know, later on my own time. Kind of showed you one of my base secrets. So the arpeggiator and reactors, monarch, and maybe a little bit sidechain just like this at the beginning to really snap, you know, give that kick the room to breathe, but still have that bass really stick like with it. And I just had an idea, so I'm going to go up here to the vocal bits, add a new track there, make sure it's going to the group here, so yep, it is. And I'm just going to add in a vocal bit that I think would be cool there, so let's go to vocal bits, pack, boom snap.
Boom snap. Boom snap.
So where is that pause thing? So there's a pause somewhere in here, right here. It doesn't really fit, but
boom snap. Boom snap.
Alright, and if I do add on my Ableton rack for vocal text stuff, maybe get rid of this. And let's freeze it now. So I'm pretty sure that that's what I want. And we'll flatten it. Oh, you know what? I should probably unfreeze it. And let's wait for me to get back this. Yeah, the snap, I can actually use it over here. Yeah. Or no, I could use the whole sample here. So this will be a longer break. So I'll take out some more of the kicks right there. Bring this, wait, let's make sure I'm on the right thing. Now bring this in, turn this off, bring this up, bring these up. Have the snap in there as well, so now I can freeze it. So just having some vocal bit fun. Again, all of these that you hear are recorded by me, and just you know, I have a video on that as well. So let's get that ready. Now, these notes I play here on these little breaks, those are placeholders for now. They're terrible sounding right now, but for now, you know, I'll rewrite those, you know, again at the beginning of the next video or before the next video, and I'll show you guys exactly what I did, just because I'm probably going to want to sit here and mess with these for like, you know, 5 or 10 minutes, and nobody wants to watch that. So, yeah, I know some things take a really long time to kind of figure out and put in. I'm making this on the fly. I don't even know what I'm going to make before I make it. And I am talking about what I'm doing as I'm doing it, so that kind of kills the writing process a little bit, you know, if you know what I mean. Try writing a song while talking about it and see how that goes. So anyway, you know, with that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow, part 3, and hopefully I'll get much more done in that video. But I know you guys will enjoy it, so lates, and remember to subscribe and like.